Assalamu alaikum YouTube. My name is Oni, and you know what? It's a pretty beautiful day outside. It's overcast. I do think it's gonna rain later on in night, but there's a cool breeze blowing, and it's really taking me back to a place that I like to visit again and again in my imagination and in my dreams. The Barrow Downs, of course. Now, seeing it's such a beautiful day, this kind of weather always reminds me of my favorite book of all time, The Lord of the Rings. I love The Lord of the Rings with a deep passion. I actually love all of the things that Tolkien has done when it comes to literary works. Lord of the Rings has a really special place in my heart, and I particularly love this book because it really got me started in the whole fantasy genre, and it really inspired me to start writing myself. Way back when I was like 11 years old, I came across the movie Lord of the Rings. I have no shame in admitting to the fact that my introduction to Tolkien was from the movies, but I'm so glad that Peter Jackson and all of his team did an excellent job of adapting one of the greatest stories ever told into movie form, and a pretty epic movie form, because holy shit, the trilogy of Lord of the Rings, I don't think there is anything or there ever will be anything that can actually beat the greatness of those three movies together. So you can understand my excitement that when I found out that they were actually making a Lord of the Rings TV series, even though I was quite excited, don't get me wrong, I was kind of confused that why would they actually remake the entire Lord of the Rings in series form when we have like three really awesome movies to just go back and watch. But then we found out that they were actually gonna cover the second age of the world of Arda, the world of Middle Earth in that story, and you know, Mount Doom explosion type excitement I had right there on the spot, because the second age, it's pretty awesome. And that right there is my biggest reason why I am super excited about this upcoming series. Now, I think it is safe to assume that most people who have only read The Lord of the Rings or The Hobbit, and heck, especially those people who have only seen the movies, I'm pretty sure they have some kind of notion that there is some history behind all of these events taking place right now. But I think they would be surprised to find out, if they absolutely have no idea, that there is actually a very grand and very awesome prehistory to all of the events that take place in The Lord of the Rings, The Third Age, and The Hobbit. There are entire two ages that precede The Lord of the Rings, obviously, because that takes place in the Third Age, and then there's the First Age and the Second Age, because 1 and 2 come before 3. Suddenly, this is all a math lesson. I think it is a very good decision on the maker's part that they are actually adapting the second age of Middle Earth, because that is kind of more streamlined when it comes to the events that take place as compared to the events of the first age. Now, the first age is very mythological in its nature. It actually has all to do with how the world actually started, who are the gods of the Tolkien universe, how the orcs came into being, how the elves came into being, where the dwarves came from, how the men came. It is a very rich prehistory of the entire universe, and it has a lot of events that can be termed as ages within an age. Like, for example, when the Valar first create light in the universe, that is the age of lamps. Then they make two trees that give out light. That is the age of the trees. Then there is the age of the sun and the moon, when they actually create the sun and moon to give the light to this universe and have all of the day and night cycle. And all of the events take place. Now, the Silmarillion, obviously, I highly recommend that you all go check it out if you're interested in the first age. It is very grand. It is maybe possibly the biggest, best stories ever told, because the Silmarillion has an overarching story, but it is not like a set one story. It takes place over a large expanse of time and has a lot of really, really good stories within them that are filled with tragedy. I have to say the Silmarillion is a very tragic book, but it is very awesome. It is expertly written, and it has some really great tales of heroisms, especially when you have huge armies of elves and men fighting against the Dark Lord and dragons coming out. Oh shit, first age is pretty awesome. But due to its grandeur, I think it is very hard to adapt for TV or movie. I don't think it is possible to be adapted for a movie. It can be done for a TV series if done right, but it will be a long series, trust me, because there are a lot of stories, lot of characters, and you can get easily lost when you're reading the Silmarillion, so you have to pay some kind of attention. Now, when it comes to the second age, the events that take place in the second age are a lot more streamlined as compared to the first age, because most events follow a like almost a straight path where Sauron is just fucking shit up for the entirety of Middle Earth and the people who live there. The Second Age is the time when Celebrimbor actually forges all of the rings that are stolen by Sauron, and then he passes them out, and then he makes the one biggest ring to rule them all. And that is the basic prehistory, the thing that people have to know, and I am very glad that it is actually going to be filmed and we actually get to see that how the Lord of the Rings actually comes about. Now the Second Age ends with the War of the Last Alliance, where the men and elves that are remaining, they like gather all of their strength, they march on Mordor, and Sauron is finally defeated when the ring is cut from his fingers, and that is the end of the Second Age. And I think that is where the series is actually going to end. Now, as far as the series is concerned, I really hope that they come out and show us all of the events that take place regarding the rings, because that is the like main plot point of the entire Lord of the Rings. The ring, the trinket, is the main focus. So I really hope that we get to see Celebrimbor actually make the rings, then we find out Sauron's treachery and him making a ring, and then the wars that take place, and the 9 rings that are given to mortal men and the 7 that are given to the dwarves. That can make for some really, really good political intrigue, like those found in shows like Game of Thrones and other stuff like that. Last Kingdom, that's a pretty awesome show. I think it is better than Game of Thrones. So that whole political thing is your niche. I think if they're done right, the entire thing of Sauron actually handing the 9 rings to mortal men who are like greedy as fuck, fighting against each other, and then all of the politics that take place, they're not like uniting to fight against the common. Yeah, it's gonna be pretty awesome, and I'm really excited about this series. Now, there is some kind of controversy surrounding this series regarding all of the casting thing. I'm not gonna get to that in here. We'll save that for another video. I just wanna keep this positive. So tell me what you all think about this upcoming series. Are you excited about it? And if you are, what are you most looking forward to in this upcoming series? Tell me in the comments below and let me know. If you enjoyed this video, please do consider liking it and sharing it. And if you like what I do consider subscribing to the channel. It really helps out. So until next time, stay safe, stay cool. I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.